Hello and welcome to this nor'easter update, and we're looking at the latest revised snowfall totals. Yes, the Weather Service finally backed off on the foot plus snowfall totals. They're still saying a foot in the city, but they backed off for Long Island as this storm continues to underperform what a lot of the models were saying last night. And this is all due because of the time of the year it is. It's very hard to get, because of the higher March sun angle, because this isn't really Arctic air. If this was Arctic air, it would be a different story, but this is a marginally cold air mass. So that is the forecast from our weather office. Now I want to see what the forecast is from the other one. So this is the forecast from the Philadelphia office. They're still going with 10 inches of Freehold and 10 inches in Toms River. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen. These heavy bands are supposed to set up. They were originally supposed to set up now. All right, we're still getting light snow outside. Let's go ahead and look at the snow totals so far. Okay, these are the snow totals from the Upton office, and nothing really too remarkable. It seems like there's some higher numbers in Bergen County, some of the higher elevations up to 5 inches maybe. Hudson County, Kearney, I'm surprised, 7.1. So yeah, some areas of central Jersey might be getting hit harder. But Long Island, the city, I mean, the most we have in Nassau is 5.5. And again, that's on the North Shore. Most of these are on the North Shore and central areas. But, oh, wow, Manhattan got 7 inches. So the city, yeah, Manhattan seems to be getting more accumulation versus Long Island. But still, we're still a ways away from over a foot of snow. Queens Village, so again, the northern part of Queens got more. Suffolk County, the most in Suffolk County is Shoreham on 4 inches on the North Shore. A lot of areas, Patchogue even has a 5. The South Shore is barely getting anything at all. So that is what's going on with that. Let's take a look at the Philadelphia office. Okay, so we're going to look at the Philadelphia office numbers. Yeah, some parts of Delaware are getting a decent amount of snow, as well as Maryland. But let's see New Jersey. Atlantic County, 5.4, Estelle Manor. But see, these are areas that are a little more inland. Once you get over toward the coast, it's less. Trace at Pleasantville. Burlington County. These are the areas I had a feeling that would get hit a little harder. Interior, central New Jersey, in interior southern New Jersey, 7.8 inches. Camden, 8 inches. Cherry Hill, 8 inches in Cherry Hill. Cumberland County, Hunterdon. Yeah, these interior areas. Gloucester, still not a foot though, but the storm isn't over yet. Middlesex County, Ford, 6 inches. Edison, 5.2. Nothing that's really crippling yet. 4.5 at Monmouth. Morris County, 6 inches, the highest number at Roxbury. Let's see how Ocean County is doing. Toms River only 1.5 inches. So Toms River once again looks like it's going to be getting off easy. But if you go further south, interestingly enough, the totals are a little higher in Lacey Township, Somerset County, Warren County, and then in the mountains. This is where they're getting the high amounts in the mountains. Berks County, Bucks County is where you get the foot of snow. Up in the Poconos, Lehigh. Yeah, this is where they're getting slammed. But for us, it's not going too bad. Looks like there was some ice accumulation reported in Atlantic County, 0.20 inches. But the winds haven't been too bad at all, which leads me to believe we're dealing with a weaker system. But that is it for the snowfall totals. We're going to take a look at now and see what's going on with the transportation. Actually, before I get to that, let's take a look at what the storm looks like on satellite. Okay, so here we go. This is what it looks like on the satellite image. And you can see here, it doesn't look that strong. This is one of the satellite images here, the MODIS satellite. We're going to go and look at the other infrared satellite that I have. Alright, so this is the infrared satellite loop, and you can clearly see some convection around the center here, but not really that impressive. It's not that strong of a storm. It really isn't that strong yet, at least, and I haven't really been impressed with what I've seen. Let's go ahead and look at the radar. Okay, so this is the radar loop. Definitely see some heavier snow off to the south of Long Island that may wind up getting in here within the next hour or so, and that's when things could deteriorate on the roads. But after that, though, it's not a solid shield or a solid band. It's very showery and broken looking. It doesn't look very organized at all yet. And this is when we thought that we would see some heavy banding over the area and thunder snow. Well, we're not seeing any of that yet. We're going to look at the precipitation type radar next. Okay, so this is the precipitation type radar. And really, I mean, if you look at this, you thought it's been snowing heavily or decently, but it really hasn't. A lot of times it's been mixing with the rain and stuff. You can see some more impressive bands coming in, trying to form over in this area here. However, so far I'm just not impressed. And just for laughs, let's take a look and see if there's any lightning. No lightning. No, it's all further offshore over here. So yeah, no lightning. I don't think there's going to be any thunder snow. Yeah, I really don't think it's going to be too bad. We're going to look at some of the well, before we get to the impact on transit, let's take a look and see what it was like in Hicksville early this evening. And most everything was shutting down, and the roads were completely empty but passable, which really illustrates the complete overreaction and stubbornness to really, be a little more fluid with the storm. When it comes to these high snow totals that were predicted, the Weather Service, people are taking too long to back off from it, and I think there was a bit of an overreaction with this storm. I really do. All right, I just want to give you a report from the Hicksville area on how things look. Pretty much the same as Mineola. It's just snowing lightly. It's been snowing lightly, mixed occasionally with light rain or sleet. There's some snow coating on the parking lots, but the roads are just fine and passable. And there's hardly anyone out, and a lot of places are closing. People are in complete panic mode over this for absolutely what I consider no reason, because even all the models back down on the foot-plus totals. But, unfortunately, there are some people out there in the weather business that just don't want to admit when they're wrong. And this is a classic example of it. Roads, not that bad at all. So here are the roads, just passable. Not that bad, but a lot of places have closed, schools, and even places like fast food places, like McDonald's over there, are closing early too. So, yeah. As nice as running, just with scattered delays. Long Island Railroad, though, has decided to cancel all the flyers, which is good. But the bad is they canceled the 2 reverse peak trains out of Farmingdale at 6:25 and 7. So that is going to be a problem for people. There's nice bus. As you can see, it's not that bad. They could have even had school today. A complete overreaction. I admit I was part of that too, but I'm going to admit I was wrong. And we overreacted to the storm a little bit, because it is, after all, late March, and it's very unusual, not impossible, to get foot-plus snowfalls at this time of the year. And again, another look at the road here. The major roads are just fine. They're just wet, a little slick, obviously, so you have to take it slow, but completely passable. As I told you, fast food places are closed. There's Five Guys. They're closed as well. So everything's pretty much shut down. And the road is just passable. I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Isn't it unbelievable? Look, you can see it's empty. Have you ever seen this? This would normally be packed with cars on a weekday rush hour at this time, but it is empty completely. I mean, when can you ever do this? Look at this. Empty. No cars. No cars. Everything is shut down. And it's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. I mean, it's passable. It's like, damn it, I predicted a foot. It's going to snow a foot because I said so. No, it's not the way it works, guys. Joe Chaffee was right all along. I was saying, he has a lot of experience in this field, and, sometimes we go a little, this place is shut down too. People go on the models, and they go hogwash on the models, saying this, but here's the thing, sometimes the models just aren't right. And this is just one of those cases.
I cleared out a little bit of snow here to show you how much it's fallen. I'd say maybe about 3 inches, 3.5 inches of snow. Not that much, but you can see it's sticking all over the trees and stuff. But it's very light. This place looks like they're still open, but they may be closing early. As a lot of these places are. Now, it will get worse later on. I just want to try to get back before 7 o'clock, so that way it doesn't get too bad. But the Long Island Railroad decided to cancel the 6:35 train from Farmingdale, which was the train I was going to take. So we may have to take Nice Bus because of that. A complete overreaction. I was surprised. I thought that people would back down, but they're sticking to that 12-inch plus forecast. I don't see it happening. And I just want to point out that it's not snowing that heavy. You can see the visibility is pretty decent. You look all the way down there, you can see the office buildings at Hicksville. You can see with the camera, but the visibility is probably still about a mile or maybe a half. It's still about a mile, so it's not that heavy at all. Just had light snow, nothing torrential yet. Certainly no thunder snow. Looks like IKEA is closed. A complete overreaction, you know. A complete overreaction. And, you know, I mean, I just wish they would have admitted they were wrong. But they don't want to admit that, unfortunately. The Chick-fil-A is also closed, by the way.
Okay, so this was the Broadway Mall around, I guess, 5:40, 5:45. And the mall was open. I was able to go inside, but most of the stores were closed. Now, I have to voice over because they were playing music. The music's pretty good they're playing in there. Actually, it's oldies, but obviously can't have that because of you know, YouTube and WMG. But you can see most all the stores are closed, and you can see it's fairly empty. There are a few people walking around, but it's really pretty empty. And again, it was kind of weird. Macy's was still open, but they closed at 6 o'clock, as you'll see. In this video, you can see there's no one around. Most of the stores are closed. There are a few people, maybe a few people walking around, but yeah, there's one person, but not much. Pretty empty, and you can see here that yeah, all these stores are closed. Macy's actually turned off their lights for a little bit because they were letting people know that they were closing as well.
What just happened? The lights like turned off for a minute. And I'm just going to show you some of the side streets. They are covered with snow, so it is sticking to the side streets. Still, it's passable. It's slushy, but it's passable. Again, this road is completely passable. And there's the town of Oyster Bay doing some snow removal right there. Trains are doing not too bad. Just a few minor delays.
Attention Long Island Railroad customers. 6:03 p.m. to Huntington is operating on time.
Anyway, I think that'll conclude this report. There's a 24 coming in 6 minutes. I don't want to take my chances with the train because I actually trust Nice more than the train right now. So let's go over there and get that 24. And that'll conclude this report. Gets heavier. I don't know if I'm going to film it later. I mean, this storm is not turning out to be. It can't be because of the time of the year it is. So, that is it. Looks like MTA police are in there. Yeah, maybe they're finally doing something about the bums hanging out in there. I don't know. It's a constant problem. Anyway, that's it from Hicksville.
Okay, so we're going to get to some of the cancellations that happened on the Long Island Railroad. And they did wind up canceling all the flyers. And I'm sure they were running empty because most people took the day off from work. Riders on, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Riders on the Babylon branch have experienced the worst service of all the branches over the past 2 years. You gotta be freaking kidding me. This is exactly the way these people are. It's really unbelievable. I can't even get quota. I can't even. All right, you know, they are spoiled. They get the best service, but it's never good enough for them.
Of course they canceled the flyers today because most people left work early today, and there's no reason to run them. All right? Look at this. My friends are on Twitter. These people need to be told off. I'm sorry. It's bullshit. All right? Let them ride the main line. They'll see what bad service is. And speaking of the main line, they did wind up canceling some trains on the main line tonight. Reverse peak trains. And I think this was a mistake because people, the 625 at Farmingdale, people had to wait. They canceled the 625, and look at how long people had to wait for the next train. 6:25 p.m. train from Farmingdale to Penn at 17:20 just canceled. So they had to wait to the 7:40 train. So they really screwed the Ronkonkoma branch tonight. I don't want to hear any more complaints from these spoiled, preppy, lily-white, snobby assholes on the Babylon branch. I just don't want to hear it anymore. All right? Look at what people in Farmingdale had to go through. You know, I just don't want to hear it anymore. They canceled the 7 o'clock, too, so they canceled both of these trains. All right? All right? They canceled both of those, and that keeps people out later when the conditions could get worse. All right? And they canceled the 6:49 and replaced it by buses. So I don't know why they did this. I know why they canceled the flyers, but it's ridiculous. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry I lost my temper there, but these people just really annoy me. And, you know, to hear, it's like if things don't go 100% perfect, they're going to whine about it. And they get the most attention. And this is a weather update. I shouldn't be even talking about this, but it just annoys me. All right? They got to whine about their little flyers being combined because you know why they like their little flyers? So they can sit with all their own kind on the train, and they don't have to have anyone who's different on the train. You know, MTA Prodigy, who did a video in Belmore, check it out. He experienced a lot of what I've been talking about there in that area. They are very in their own little bubble, and if you're not exactly like them, you don't look exactly like them, you don't have the same skin, you don't have the same clothes, they're going to look at you like you're some kind of lowlife, basically. That's the way they are in that area. It's absolutely disgusting. This is a weather update. I shouldn't be talking about that. So, those are the delays with the Long Island Railroad, and trying to think of what else we can talk. I can show you. I guess we'll just show you some conditions. I'll show you some conditions across the area. All right, we're going to look at New Jersey Transit. Looks like they're clearing the platforms there in Secaucus. The trains are running on New Jersey Transit, but the bus service was suspended at 3 o'clock statewide, and I'm assuming this is because of the road conditions in that area. So now we're going to go ahead and look at some of the cameras in New Jersey and see what the road conditions are there. And yes, as it appears, it looks like Jersey is getting hit harder. This is the Garden State Parkway, and you can see the road is covered in snow. So the conditions look much worse there. That's because that's where the heavier bands are setting up. That's where there's a little more colder air, and that is why we're seeing that. This is further north. This is in the Garden State Parkway near Cheesequake State Park. Let's go a little further south and see what it looks like in New Jersey. It's Tom's River. Yeah, that looks pretty bad. That's Manchester Township. That's inland of Tom's River, and you can see the roads are covered in snow. So they seem to be getting hit significantly harder than we are. Oh, wow. Yeah. Tom's River is really getting hit hard. This is why in my original forecast I kind of said that Tom's River is going to get hit hard, and now they're getting into those heavy bands that are heading our way. So that's why I expect conditions to worsen in the next hour or two there. That's some pretty heavy snow ongoing right there in Tom's River. Wow, yeah. So Tom's River is getting, this storm is becoming, it's very hard to predict. I mean, it's very, normally you'd think Tom's River would be warmer than Long Island and that there'd be less a snowfall accumulation there. But as you could see, it's significantly worse. And that just goes to show you how unpredictable this storm has been. And
always bears watching. That's why I say I don't say throw caution to the wind. I said earlier, I think things are going to get worse around 7, and they are getting worse. Now we're going to look at some of the New York state cameras. This is Meadowbrook State Parkway at Westbury Avenue. You can see not nearly as bad as New Jersey. We're not getting hit nearly as bad. I'm going to head a little more toward the city now and see what we can get over here. Yeah, that road just looks wet. That's the expressway at Shelter Rock Road. We'll head a little more into Queens. Let's see what it looks like in Queens. Not too bad. Again, roads are just wet. So let's see. We're headed further east. Let's go further east. Take a look at the Sagatos. Alright, sticking a little more there at the Sagatos. So it seems like Suffolk County is getting hit maybe a little harder. But still not that bad. Not as bad as what we saw in Jersey. We'll take a look one more time at the radar, and that'll conclude this update. Okay, so we're looking at the radar one more time, and you can see the heavier bands now that we're over Toms River are now moving in across into Nassau County. And Long Island in general. So I expect conditions to deteriorate within the next hour or two, which is why I said, while conditions weren't too bad during the day, I said that it would be prudent for places to close by 6 or 7 o'clock. And Roosevelt Field closed as of 5 p.m. I think some places could have been open a little later. I was surprised at all the places I saw closed. I would expect them to close a little more toward this time of the evening. But conditions will deteriorate. But will it be the worst March snowstorm we've ever had? I don't think so. But conditions won't be great, and it's best that if you are still out to get home, because conditions are going to be worsening. Which you can see, though, the heaviest bands are setting up right over Toms River. There you go. So it looks like my original forecast of Toms River getting hit harder is going to be a little more likely. In fact, let me go back to my original forecast, and then I'll conclude this video. Okay, so this was my original forecast that I made before the storm started. I still don't think there's going to be, over a foot of snow. So we can, I think maybe a foot in this area here. A foot of snow in this area is likely. As far as the rest of this area, I'm thinking 8 inches would be more likely here. 8 inches, maybe 10 inches. Right, but some of this 12-inch area could extend into parts of New York City. All right. And as far as out east goes, I think we're going to go a little more toward the. I'm going to increase it a little bit, 5 to 8. All right. All right. So this will be 5 to 8 over here. All right. Out east. All right. But again, the South Shore areas are going to probably be more toward the 5. And as far as out here, I'm going to stick to this 3 to 5 on the east end. So again, I think the areas that are going to get hit hard in this storm, the hardest hit areas are going to be in that I-95 corridor that I said in the beginning of this video. So you figure like this area right here, all right? This is where you're going to see the, foot snowfalls or more, perhaps. All right. All right. But I think as we go in this direction toward New York City, it'll be more toward the 10-inch mark, all right? All right, over in New York City, all right? And that 10-inch mark could stretch into the North Shore, all right? And then this area here, we could have, a little more, like I said, the 8 of this mount is probably going to be more on the North Shore. So this is where the 8 inches is going to be. The 8 to 9-inch snowfalls on Long Island. Like I said, very hard to predict storm, and it's very hard because it is March, it is late in the season, and the sun angle plays a huge role in accumulation. The storm has evolved differently than a lot of the models said, and I'm not even looking at the models, we're just kind of now casting it and kind of just going how it goes. But this is a slow storm, and so I think from this time on till the early morning hours of Thursday is when this storm will be at its worst. That's when the roads will get snow covered. That's when the snow is going to come down a little heavier. But I'm hoping the power edge impacts are not too bad. So that'll conclude this update. But again, it's this area right here, Central Jersey, Ocean County. Toms River is really starting to get hit hard now. So just as I predicted, I had a feeling this area would get the worst of it. And they are. So that's it. Be safe. Hopefully you get home soon if you're out. And let's hope the storm winds up being not as bad as predicted. That's it.